Recording. Yes.
All right, I've got a special guest.
Hello, everyone. We are less than 24 hours away from...
can you hear me? Okay, can you hear Ellie?
Yes, I can
We're
hear
less than
Ellie.
24 hours away from the 4th launch of Starship, and I think it's going to go great.
Ellie,
Live
you're great.
on the
You're so
ground.
cool.
Are we live?
No, not quite live.
Okay.
This is going to go out. Okay, here we go. This is
Ellie in space.
Ellie in space. Check it out. Isn't she a beaut? I mean the car. I wasn't talking about Ellie. Of course, she's a beaut too. All right. And of course, there we have it. We're going to talk about it. But we're probably blocking traffic here.
I don't want to block the road. I will come catch up with you.
Yes. All right. Bye.
Bye, Ellie.
All right. So there you have it. Okay. And my fingers are in the way. I'm glad you got that. So
Thank you
that was
so much,
impromptu.
Scott.
Yes,
It was.
hopefully. So here we go. Herbert. So as you know, I've been making a trip to Austin because I got an invite to the shareholder meeting, and I saw that we had this scheduled meeting, and I just quickly pulled over somewhere that was like kind of near a beach, I guess. I'm driving like, I don't know where the heck I am, but for some reason it feels like a Tesla convention going on here. I'm not sure what's going on. It's like, oh look, I just saw a Cybertruck go by.
Wow.
So you see that it's one of many Cybertrucks here. They're just all over the place. I don't know what's going on, what the big attraction is. I guess maybe it's because it's just a lovely beach here and a really lovely day. It seems like this really big oil well behind me here. People are taking lots of pictures of it. I think it's like the tallest oil well in Texas or something like that. It's one of these sites. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. So
it's not enough.
So here I am. I thought, I was trying to find a kind of a picturesque backdrop.
Yeah.
So trying to do the best we can. And you see, I even brought the Starlink dish. I don't know how well we can see it here, but you see there's the Starlink dish.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Just setting the whole thing up here. So
tell me more, Scott. So you are going to be watching this tomorrow at Thursday, and I think it's scheduled at, what is it, 5 a.m. Pacific time, which would be 7?
I think around 7 a.m. local. Whoops, let me see. You don't want to see
Central.
my fingers the whole time here. 7 a.m. Central, probably 8 a.m. Eastern. Maybe by the time this video has gone out, it's already over. It's already happened.
Tell me more about what the Starship is all about. And didn't they have a launch today? That's a different one, right?
That's a different one. That was the final, the first crewed flight of the Boeing Starliner out of Cape Kennedy. So that seems to have been successful. I don't know if I don't think they've docked yet with International Space Station. It was an instantaneous launch window because they need to rendezvous with the space station. So it was at, I think, 10:53 a.m. this morning. I didn't have a chance to see it live because I was, on the road, just kind of driving out here, getting a bit lost out of this strange kind of country lane that I tell you, it's just weird what's going on down here. All these people that are showing up. So that seems to be successful. And as some of you may already know, that one of the astronauts on there, Sunita Williams, known as Sunny or Suni, she is a graduate of the same high school that I went to.
Wow.
Yes, the Needham High School Rockets. That we were called the Rockets even back then, before she became a famous astronaut. The high school, we were always the Rockets. Yes.
Well,
I graduated probably like 9 years before she did, and it was already called the Rockets. All right. So it's just kind of appropriate that a Needham rocket is actually flying. She is a veteran of many flights, and is a jet fighter pilot and a test pilot. So appropriate pick for this kind of mission where you're doing the first kind of crewed launch. So yes, so the fifth started out, with a good omen. It's rather great to know that the U.S. now has 2 different vehicles that they could potentially go into space with. And tomorrow we're just waiting for this candle to light to be, a really good firework to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the Normandy invasion.
Okay.
So the only reason we have the freedom to build this rocket that we see over here is because of the sacrifice of a lot of young men and boys 80 years ago. Yep. You know, let's keep that in mind tomorrow. When we think about it, what better way to commemorate the strength of the American democracy?
Beautiful, beautiful,
Yep.
poetic, Scott. I know that you you had told me that you had wanted to be an astronaut yourself, but what happened? You failed out, or?
Well, maybe I ended up going for robotics instead. You know, at that time, robotics sounded pretty interesting. It was up and emerging, and so I got the robotics bug, and it seemed like it was going to be, you know, pretty competitive to try to have that dream. And the idea of someone 6'3" being selected for an astronaut was crazy. You know, I might have been just a bit too tall. No, I think there have been some astronauts that actually were maybe about my height. I believe, I mean, as far as the officially tallest person to go into space, I think it's the host of Good Morning America that went up on the New Shepard like a year or two ago. He's like 6'6", because remember, he played in the NFL. He was a linebacker or something like that. But I think like the Mercury astronauts were well under 6 feet. They were like 5'6", 5'7". The tallest one might have been like 5'9" or 5'10". So, you know, it's to be a fighter pilot, they usually want people on the shorter side rather than the taller side. So yeah, can't make it too big. You know, it's because it's already hard enough, and if you're going to make the seat 2 or 3 inches bigger, it's a lot extra. You know, yeah. So anyway, like, this thing behind us, I don't know if you can hear the sounds. It's kind of breezy today, and we can hear a lot of venting of different things as they're getting the systems ready. From you know, the contacts they have down here, they're all pretty confident that things are going to go well. They've been confident for a couple of weeks now that all the hardware and everything is ready. You know, they're working out some little subsystems here and there, but there's like no major glitches. I've had a look around. It's a little bit hard to see. I posted something on X that if you look up on the Starship, it looks like there's 2 missing tiles right in the middle down towards the bottom part. And they probably are not missing tiles. They might be some special tiles that are white that maybe have something else in there. I don't think they're antennas. I don't think you would put antennas on the hottest side of the Starship. But I've been assured that no, they are not missing tiles and that it's on purpose, whatever that is. So that's not going to be anything that would hold the launch back or anything like that. And by the way, Herbert, you know what? You are absolutely famous.
What?
Yes. As I'm down here, I've been down here since about 11 this morning, and a lot of people have come up to me and said, "You look familiar."
You're the one
and
famous.
Have I seen you? And then I mentioned, they say, "Oh, of course, you were on Brighter with Herbert." Yes, I've seen you on Brighter with Herbert. So I've struck up a lot of conversations. So you are definitely well known by a lot of people down here.
Thank you, Scott. Tell me more about the Starship. So it's going to fly again tomorrow. Why is it important? How many flights has it done?
Okay, so this is known as IFT4, which stands for Integrated Flight Test Number 4. And so this is the 4th test of a fully stacked Starship. So we've seen the upper part, which is the Starship, which has done the suborbital tests, where it went up like a couple of miles and fell back down and tried to do the belly flop landing. And now they have the booster, which will allow it to go into orbit. And so this is the 3rd fully integrated test. And there's some milestones they want to hit. So each one of them was a test flight. That's what you have to remember. That's why it's called IFT, okay? Stressed on the T. And the first one, they basically had a lot of hardware that was already outdated that was just like either use it or lose it. So they knew there was going to be problems, but they learned a lot from that. And so they made a couple of changes. And the last flight, they wanted to do a bunch of things. And they were able to successfully do a couple of them, but not all of them. So the first thing is they wanted to bring the booster all the way back down and do a soft landing in the Gulf of Mexico. That's the lower part, the silvery part. And they made it all the way down to about 400 meters, and then it rutted, a rapid, unscheduled disassembly. And a little bit before that, you could see there was losing a little bit of control authority, and they're not quite sure why. And it's more than likely because the stage separation, known as the hot staging separation, while it appeared to be successful, may have had some consequences down that caused it to not be able to do that successful landing. So they want to try to stick that. They think they know what the causes of those problems were, and they've made a lot of changes for that. And then the Starship successfully made it into an almost orbit. It was intentionally not in a full, it could have been in an orbit, but they intentionally made it a little bit low so it would come in on its own. And they wanted to test a few things. One of the things that they wanted to test was the fuel tank transfer, which they're able to do. The other thing that they want to do a test of was the payload bay door, which appeared to be able to open, but it's not sure if it closed right. And that may have caused some other problems because they then wanted to test a restart of the Raptor engines in space. And they didn't do that because they lost attitude control. So something happened that the RCS thrusters were not performing correctly. Not sure if it's related to the payload bay doors. There's other things that were going on. But because of that, they couldn't risk starting up the Raptors. Now, part of the Raptor test is that it's very important for deorbiting. Not only inserting into a proper orbit, but getting back down. And then, of course, they started to do the reentry, but they couldn't do the reentry successfully because they had loss of control authority. So the attitude was all over the place. So they got uneven heating all over the place, and they didn't have the correct angle of attack coming in. So that just caused it to run at about, I think, somewhere around 100 kilometers up, almost exactly at the von Karman line. So this time they want to try to make it through. So they're getting rid of all the other tests. They're like, we're not going to bother with that stuff. We're going to go up and we're going to bring her home. And they want to try to bring her all the way down to the Indian Ocean. And rather just doing a belly flop without actually trying to land it, they are going to try to stick the landing out there. So that's something new. They were not sure. They're going to stick the landing out in the Indian Ocean. They're going to try to do that. And they want to try to stick the landing here. So to do that, they've had to do a lot of changes. One change, which we don't quite understand, is the hot stage ring. And it might be a little bit hard to see right now. I don't think I can zoom in, but right between the black part and the silver part is a ring that has vents on it. And this ring is designed to allow, when the second stage fires up, someplace for everything to vent out. So you need the venting along there to be able to do it. And that's a 10-ton piece of steel there, that whole structure. And they're going to dump that because they want to lower the mass to landing. And part of the reason they want to lower the mass is the original design for the Starship, or for the booster, was they were expecting a certain mass for the vehicle, but they've upgraded so many systems. So they've added more stiffeners or stringers from 24 to 72. They put heat shielding around the Raptor. They've added all this stuff, which means it's coming down a lot heavier than they originally designed. And they want to shed a little bit of extra weight until they can prove that. Now, it means eventually they're going to reintegrate and figure all this stuff out. But right now it's like, we've already built these boosters. We can't retrofit the, what are these header tanks that they use for the oxygen system? They would need to be bigger to handle the heavier payload. Now, they had the margins to be able to do it, but they probably get so close to those margins that forget it. We'll just dump this heat shield or the hot stage ring, get rid of 10 tons right there, and then try to land it. Now, there's a lot of speculation that if they stick this landing, that on the next one, they may attempt to catch it. So they want to bring it back to
with the chopsticks,
what we see behind me, the chopsticks. Now, what we might want to look for, this is something that Felix, and I saw Felix down here a few minutes ago, just before I saw Ellie, and he has a theory, and I think it's an interesting theory, that maybe they will try to operate the chopsticks as the booster is landing in the ocean.
Gotcha.
Do it virtually. So as they get the telemetry from that, they'll use that to control the chopsticks, to test the system to see if that's working. So we might want to keep an eye on the chopsticks during that landing burn to see what it does, to see if it configures itself and does all that. If those seem to be successful, there is a very good chance that the next one, they will try to catch it. There's a chance. There's speculation on that. Others think that they're going to want to do 2 or 3 in the Atlantic before that happens. So could be that they would be ready to do something like that. So we'll see. We don't know for sure, but we'll see.
Thank you so much, Scott. Yeah. So it's going to go, Starship IFT-4 will be on, hopefully, launch on time at 7 a.m. Central Time. Yes. You're going to be there, and maybe the chopsticks will happen. Thank you for giving the update. I'll post this on X.
I plan to be live streaming tomorrow on X in a Spaces and trying to do a live stream, and from a special location that I will reveal in the morning. I don't want to jinx myself right now. But what
Okay.
let's say my ticket to get in is probably going to be this thing here to help us, because the biggest problem all the streamers have down there is the cell phone
Gotcha.
networks go down.
You can get right
And
in.
hopefully Starlink doesn't go down also, because there's such a concentration in a small area.
Very
And
cool.
everyone with an RV down there is going to be doing that. So we'll
Wonderful.
go ahead and see. And yep. And so there's actually beachgoers here, believe it or not. There's people who use the beach.
Nice.
So if I would encourage anyone who has not made it down here yet to come down here. Even if this is obviously a special day because they stacked it at about 3 a.m. But access is unprecedented. But do not expect access like this to last forever.
Yeah,
That's going to change over time. They may buy up some of this land and everything else to be able to do it. Now, I have seen incredible changes to this area since the last time I was here. I was here about a year ago. And driving down here a year ago, the road was like all potholed and narrow, and it was really hard to go. They've repaved it, and it's wider. Also notice that the power lines are up now. So they used to be, they needed a lot of generators down here. Now it looks like they've been able to actually bring power down here, coming in from the utilities. So that's been upgraded for sure. So the roads are better. And then Starbase itself, it used to be that it's almost felt a bit sleepy when you went by. You could get access to the rocket garden. You can't get it anymore. You could easily park right in front of the Starbase sign. Well, that Starbase sign, that parking area that used to be gravel, is now paved. It's full of SpaceX employee parking there. They've built a parking garage that was not there also for SpaceX employees. They've got quite a settlement of houses around. There's a lot of people that live on site, and they have a lot of trailers and all that stuff set up. It's just very, very busy. You see cars everywhere, and they're just building huge structures, huge manufacturing structures that you would not believe that were not there a year ago. So there's definitely a lot of energy down here. They're doing a lot. They're working very hard to build these things. The transformation in 1 year is remarkable. Now, the people that have been down here, because it's probably so incremental, they don't necessarily notice it. But for me, it was like, well, wait a minute. I remember I could go there. Oh, I can't. Oh, look how wide. I don't remember that big. That was like an empty lot before. And now it's a parking structure. Look at this huge, it's not quite like Giga Texas, but it's still a pretty big, impressive structure. And you can recognize that it's an Elon Musk company structure because it has that similar kind of architectural style. The glass in the corner that they kind of open up, it's reminiscent of Giga Berlin, of Giga Texas. It's like, yep, that's the imprimatur has been put on there. Maybe they use the same architectural firms to design these things.
It's good.
But
no doubt.
There's a lot going on here.
It'll be an amazing city soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all the people down here are so proud of what they're seeing. Everyone just cannot believe it. They're all tearing up when they see it. And then you also have a lot of people from outside of the U.S. coming down here and seeing it. They're also just amazed at what we can do, what is possible, and the greatest democracy that the planet has ever seen, because of the sacrifice of well over 10,000 young lads 80 years ago tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Historic in many ways. Thank you so much, Scott.
Yes.
So if you follow his live stream on his X account, Going Ballistic 5, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Going Ballistic. Now you know why that handle.
Exactly, because you'll record all of them.
This thing's going ballistic tomorrow, okay? It's going to be
Thanks,
great.
Scott.
It's going to be great. Yes.
That'll be great. Okay. Thank you all. Bye-bye. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.